we're going to complete, our final technique is going to be a variation on parts work. And it's a really kind of cool thing because it combines parts work, but also uses the wisdom of the body. And you might have heard it referred to as voice dialogue. And this is a really simple way to get a part to come forward and speak. And if someone is telling me, gosh, did I do this the other day? I feel like I did on Instagram and the live coaching, where someone's saying, I'm feeling anxious, for example. You would say, where in your body do you feel anxious? Because like Stacey was just explaining how we create anxiety through thoughts. And then there's somewhere in the body where we feel it. Maybe your throat's tightening, maybe your stomach is getting crunched, maybe like your solar plexus feels like covered, or your head hurts. And so asking the client, where in your body do you feel this? And letting them really tune into that part. So let's say, for example, my throat closes when I feel anxious. So I tune into that, and I would say to my client, sorry, like random Lebanese Afro hair in my face, would say, like, where in your body do you feel this? And let's say my client, not me, says in my throat. And then I would say, if that part of you had a voice, what would it say? And we allow that part to speak, because that part has a lot to say, and it's coming from the throat area. And what's going to happen is, the more that part talks, like the more the throat talks to me, the coach, when the client is talking to me, that part starts to relax. Because part of the problem with what we're holding in our bodies is that those parts just haven't been heard, and they want to be heard. It's why they're like squeezing and contracting. Like, please hear me. Please listen. And so if we can just listen, and then usually that part starts to relax. And also that part has a lot of wisdom to share. It's got something it wants. It's got something it needs. So this is one way to do it, of saying, where does the anxiety live? In your throat. Great. If that part had a voice, what would it say? If you notice your client relaxing, great, you're on the right track. If not, you could go a different direction and say, okay, great, let's pause. Let's shake that out and switch it around and say, when in your life did you feel most powerful and or confident? Or what was a time in your life where you felt most powerful and confident? And this is actually jumping to a technique from yesterday, which is resourcing from self. So the client's feeling anxious. It's not working with the voice dialogue. Okay, I'm going to redirect their attention. When do they feel most powerful or confident? And they're going to load that feeling up. And then I'm going to say, and where in your body do you feel that? They're going to say, oh, my heart, for example. Great. Now imagine you had a volume dial and you turning the volume up on that feeling and just letting that heart expand, expand, expand. Now, if that part of you, your heart, had a voice, what would it say? What would it say about the circumstance that you're in, or the challenge that you're facing? And now all of a sudden you have your heart, or whatever part of the body, speaking and telling you the wisdom of what it knows to do. And then I might say, well, based on what we've learned from your heart, what decision would you like to make about what's in front of you? So there's just two ways sort of to do voice dialogue. Anything there, Stacey, that you would share? This is a lot of juicy stuff. So check and let me know in the comments if you have questions or thoughts on this. Tracy's asking, what if they aren't able to pinpoint a body part and say it's just all in my head? Well, actually, that is the body part. She's like, great. So if your head had a voice, or you could say, where in your head? Right here. It's right here. It's all back here. Great. If that part of your head had a voice, what would it say? Awesome.
I love that. It's so powerful because it helps us access the subconscious mind. It's kind of like our little blind spot in a way of what's underneath our fear and anxiety and the part of us that has been buried or kind of shut down for so long, right? Like I used to say that these are the parts of us that have been like sealed off in some basement of our being with a sign on the outside that said, don't go in here, keep out. But that there's great wisdom to be harvested in there. And sometimes when we're in our heads trying to come up with all of the answers, we just blank. At least I do. I've been a client of this work for so many years. And it's like sometimes my critter brain just doesn't allow my mind to access anything. But when I get into the body and relax my mind and access this different part where this other piece is living, sometimes I come up with something that totally surprises me.
Well, I love it. The body doesn't lie. You know, whatever's being held in our body, there's wisdom and there's truth in there. And you're also accessing your intuition, because your intuition is housed in there too. So there's so many powerful outcomes from that kind of parts work. So Stacey, I know we're coming somewhat to a close here. Should we recap our 10 techniques? And it's really more than 10, because for some of them, we're giving you kind of 2 options or 2 ways to do it.
There was. Yeah, let's go ahead and give the recap, and then we've got some final thoughts as well. Technique number 6 that we covered today, again, remember part 1 had the first 5 techniques. This is part 2 of this masterclass. Technique number 6 is the control audit, what you can control, what you can't control. Technique number 7 is the worst case scenario. Technique number 8 is the perceptual position, or connecting to higher self, as Carrie gave that example. Technique number 9 is parts work. And technique number 10 was a variation on parts work called voice dialogue. So those are the 10 techniques. And as we come to this close, just some final thoughts. Real emergencies surface people with real leadership capacity. The world needs compassionate warriors, and we are each being tasked with where we can be one. It is possible to become more clear, more present, more focused, more capable as the stress rises. If you are centered and clear, then act. If you are anxious, frantic, overwhelmed, or unclear, take a break. Use one of these 10 tools and center yourself. Come back to action when you are clear and ready to effectively act.
And one thing I want to share is that if you are a coach, to notice these 10 tools that you have now. Some of them are a reminder, some of them might be new, but regardless, these are really powerful. Even if you only use these 10, they'd be amazing. And you have way more than this in your toolkit. And I think it's really easy to underestimate, undervalue, think, I don't know, what am I doing? Is it really that good? Is it really that valuable? Am I really helping people? Yes, absolutely. We use these techniques all the time. And like I say, you have way more than this. So you have the skills and tools to make a huge difference in somebody's life, to really change the course of somebody's life. And especially at a time like this, when the decisions we make really do plant the seeds for what's to come, which is always true. Just in a crisis period, this is it's like the great redefining, that people are getting the opportunity to do here. So you have the tools to help people do this. Now, if you're not a coach, but you are like, wow, these are really interesting tools, and I think I might consider doing this coaching thing and helping other people transition with their health or their career or their relationships or building their resilience, you can go to healthcoachinstitute.com and join Stacey and I for one of our free weekly upcoming live introductory workshops.